Importante kasi na wag lang paratang. You have to be very specific, no? At saka ang tanong ko nga, bakit mo ilalabas yung departamento na talaga namang ilang araw nang inimbestigahan ng Senado? Nasaan po kayo nung nag-iimbestiga ang inyong mga kasama? Or kung di siya absent, he may have been preoccupied with something else.
Wala naman dun si Senator Manny Pacquiao. Walang dumadaan na pera sa Department of Health. Wala rin dumadaan sa gobyerno, sa DPM. Wala naman problema yon dahil talaga naman trabaho ni Senator Manny Pacquiao. Alamin kung saan napupunta ang budget ng ahensya.
You heard Palace spokesman Harry Roque saying Senator Manny Pacquiao may have been absent when officials explained before the Senate government's procurement process in its COVID response. Recall that the senator called for a probe on the health department's pandemic purchases.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque was quick to dismiss the corruption allegations, but still expressed readiness to show how the department utilized its COVID-19 response budget. Good evening, I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Robbie Alampay. You're watching The Big Story. Let's start with Senator Manny Pacquiao naming the first agency allegedly involved in corruption, the DOH.
Taal shrugs off Pacquiao's accusation, citing lack of evidence and him being absent in a crucial hearing discussing COVID fund matters. Jen Calimon with The Big Story.
Senator Manny Pacquiao kicked off his so-called corruption list by naming the Department of Health without showing any proof. He challenged Health Secretary Francisco Duque to explain where COVID-19 funds went exactly. Duque defended his office, saying funds go straight to vaccine procurement.
Walang dumadaan na pera sa Department of Health. Wala rin dumadaan sa...
It's open to another probe. Last June 15, Secretary to the Senate Committee of the Whole. But Senator...
Tinanong na doon sa Senado, lahat naman ay ininabas na. Pati yung mga presyo, pinakita naman in executive session sa mga senador. Importante kasi na wag lang paratang. You have to be very specific.
Presidential spokesman Harry Roque says politics is already at play here.
Politika po talaga. Politika po ang katapusan nito. No? At tingin ko maghuhusga ang taong bayan kung sino talaga mamumuno sa 2022.
PDP Laban Executive Vice Chairman Senator Coco Pimentel insists that Pacquiao and President Duterte are on the same page in wanting to address corruption issues. He says it would be better to fix the problem head-on and not dwell on which administration is more corrupt, as what Pacquiao claimed early on. But PDP Laban Deputy Secretary General Melvin Batibag told 1PH wag po. It's party President Senator Manny Pacquiao who is sounding more and more like the opposition.
Ako nga po, obserbasyon ko dyan, for a long time already, hindi naman po ito yung unang pagkakataon, si Senator Pacquiao has been singing the tune of the opposition.
For Pimentel, some party members may be using the tension between the President and Pacquiao to push the lawmaker out of the party. Reporting for News 5, Jen Calimon, We Are One News.
How is the rift between Senator Pacquiao and President Duterte affecting their party, the PDP Laban? To give us his take on the matter, joining us is PDP Laban member and DILG Undersecretary Martin Dino. Yusek Dino, welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening, Robbie at Gretchen. At sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon, magandang gabi po.
Yusek, how is this growing rift and these criticisms from Senator Manny Pacquiao affecting your party?
For me, alam niyo naman ng PDP Laban, sabi nga natin, we're the one na talagang pinupush namin ng democracy. Kaya it is healthy na sa partido. Kaya nga meron tayong tinatawag na consultative at saka participatory democracy para at least napapag-usapan kung ano yung mga dapat gawin. Pero kami nga, nakakamukha ako as Undersecretary for Barangay Affairs. Meron din kaming fight against corruption. Kami ni Secretary Anyo, since the start na napunta kami dito sa DILG, nagkaroon kami for the first time, nagkaroon ng bantay kaagapay o yung bantay corruption ng DILG. Kaya kami naman talagang sa PDP Laban, Isa sa mga prinsipyo namin is fight against corruption. At yan naman hanggang ngayon ang aming pinaninindigan. Kaya on my part, sabi ko nga, naimbitahan niyo ako dito as DILG Undersecretary for Barangay Affairs. Talagang meron, no? Na corruption, lalong-lalo na sa barangay, na kung saan sistema kasi. Just imagine, since 2012, hindi panahon ni Presidente Duterte to, since 2012, binago ng COA ang rules at policy nila. Dati, nung barangay captain ako, bago makapag-withdraw ng pera, ang aming treasurer, dadaan ka muna sa fiscal control. Tapos kung meron kang mga project, dadaan ka muna sa bidding, dadaan ka sa mga proseso na tinatadhana ng batas. Pero since 2012, ano nangyari? Ang ginawa ng COA, binigyan ng poder ang barangay captain. Just a simple certification ng kapitan. The treasurer can withdraw all the money in the bank without any supporting documents. Tapos ano yan, liquidation to follow. Pagdating ng December, ililiquidate na nila kung ano yung mga winidraw na pera ng barangay. At karamihan sa mga barangay, merong disallowance dahil hindi nila na-explain yung kanilang pinagagastusan. So yan ang nagiging sistema ngayon.
Oh, but Yusek, maganda po itong panig nyo as you said, speaking as DILG, but asking you also as a member of the PDP Laban. Gaya nga po ng sabi nyo, may demokrasya inside PDP Laban, okay lang kanyo na may sariling opinion or even batikos si Senator Manny Pacquiao. But sabi ng acting SecGen nyo rin, si Attorney Melvin Matibag, that more and more Manny Pacquiao is sounding like a member of the opposition. Do you agree with that? And what do you think Senator Pacquiao should do with respect to staying on or leaving the PDP Laban?
Hindi, obligasyon ng senador, hindi ba? Meron tayong oversight function na if ever na may nakikita siya na as a senator, sabi nga ni Presidente, obligasyon niya, no? Kaya lang ang emphasize nga dito, dapat once na nag-akusa ka, dapat may kaakibat na ebidensya. Kamukha namin sa Voluntary Against Crime and Corruption, alam mo naman, every time na bubukas ang kami noon, every time na meron kaming akusahan, meron kaming dala-dalang preba. Ito yung mga COA report. Kasi yan lang ang pinakamagandang yung report ng COA. Kasi yan, andyan yung magagaling natin auditor. So, yun ang ako naman para sa akin, ganun ang kailangan. Kamukha dito sa DILG. Pagka nag-file kami ng complaint against punong barangay, meron kaming mga complainant. Meron kaming pinaghuhugutan ng reklamo. Kaya ngayon, lahat ng nagrereklamo tungkol sa barangay, ang katotohanan niyan ay merong ebidensya na dinadala sa opisina ko. Kaya pagka nag-file kami ng kaso sa Office of the Ombudsman, intact yung aming kaso. Okay. Dahil merong probable cause. Yun ang maganda ron.
Okay, maraming salamat po. DILG Undersecretary Martin Dino. The DOJ-led Task Force Against Corruption received more than 200 reports since it was established late last year. Tonight's big number is 220. That is the number of complaints received by the TFAC as of June 9, mostly involving the Public Works Department and LGUs. Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara pointed out they have yet to receive a report against the Health Department. 210 complaints have already been acted upon by the task force. At least 15 cases have been endorsed to the Office of the Ombudsman for further investigation.
These are the other big stories tonight. It must be volcanic smog from Taal after all. A day after saying that the haze in the metro was caused by pollution, Phivolcs backtracks and says plumes of sulfur dioxide have spread to the capital. From free rides to risk allowance for health workers, these services have to be put on hold as the Bayanihan 2 expires today. And in less than a day, Gilas Pilipinas squad will be squaring off with some of the world's best for the Olympic qualifiers. But beyond OQT, what lies ahead for the young squad? Find out the answer after the break.
Good evening. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay. To prevent an injection blunder, like what to the story?
He is shown the syringe with a vaccine in it. After the jab,
Akin, na tinapon niya po doon.
the medical worker jabbed the patient but forgot to inject the vaccine for her vaccine in San Juan on Wednesday.
Paano na lang kung hindi talaga, kung halimbawa ako, syempre, kumbaga, kampante ka na hindi ka na mahahawa.
The San Juan LGU also implemented a rotation policy to give tired health workers more breaks so they can avoid mistakes.
Confidence naman kami na dun sa vaccine na, dun sa LGU namin, yun nga, tiwala naman kami sa kanila.
At the same time, San Juan also started dispensing the US-made Moderna vaccine on Wednesday. Moderna requires an ultra-low temperature storage of negative 25 degrees Celsius.
The preparation, more or less, ako na-handle namin ng Pfizer, madali na i-handle ng Moderna.
Once out of the storage, the vaccine needs to be thawed and used the same day or it will go to waste.
Pag na-punctured mo na yung pinaka-vial, it will last for 6 hours. Pero kung hindi pa at room temperature, it will last for 12 hours.
San Juan received 1,800 doses, divided for their first and second doses. Priority goes to OFWs and seafarers. But medical frontliners, seniors, persons with comorbidities, the working sector, and indigent communities were also entertained. I am Jacob Lazaro and we are One News.
And just how important is it to get the second dose of your COVID vaccine? Let's take a look at data from the Food and Drug Administration. Out of the 3.7 million Filipinos vaccinated with Sinovac shots, 173 still got infected after their first dose, 11 of whom suffered severe cases and died. But after getting the second dose, the number of people who still contracted COVID drastically went down to 27, no casualties. Fast forward to 2 weeks after being fully vaccinated, only a few dozens got the infection and all were mild cases. As for AstraZeneca, the data appears similar. From more than 2 million who took the first shot, about 180 still tested positive for COVID-19, 11 of whom died due to severe infection. But within 2 weeks of getting the second dose, that number goes down to 5. 0 casualties. So again, we remind everyone to take the vaccine available to you. Let's save lives.
Time for an extra's look at some of the day's big stories. The Philippines has the highest number of new cases in the West Pacific region from June 21 to 27. That's according to the World Health Organization. The country reported over 38,600 new cases, surpassing Malaysia and Mongolia. The Philippines also recorded the highest number of new deaths in the region at 706. Allowance for healthcare workers and free rides end today, along with the expiration of Bayanihan 2. The measure still has some 17.2 billion pesos of unobligated funds left, but the Budget Department told Radyo 5 that only 6.4 billion pesos will expire today, as the rest may still be used until year-end. The unused fund will be reverted back to the Treasury. The business permit of the factory, which paid its employee with loose coins, has been suspended. In its decision, the Valenzuela City LGU said Next Green factory also allegedly failed to pay its employees the right wages. Company owner Jasper Saw admitted to failing to pay the correct overtime and night differential pay. But Saw explained that the coin payment to one of its workers was unintentional. Now for the big story in sports. Gilas Pilipinas is just a few hours away from kicking off its FIBA Olympic qualifying tournament campaign. But looking ahead, what else is in store for the SBP and Gilas? Find out in my report. It's been mostly good news for the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas, from sweeping the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers to the successful hosting of the tournament. The SBP says this was just a preview of what to expect come the FIBA World Cup in 2023.
It's an honor to be acknowledged by knowledge in FIBA for doing a good job.
The success of the bubble is welcome news for the SBP, especially with professional sports still struggling to cope. But they admit that the bubble wasn't without its own set of challenges.
For me, there were a couple of positives that we experienced. But very quickly, the moment somebody was identified, very quickly our biosecurity team said, you gotta be isolated, you gotta remove you from it. Then we have to do contact tracing. Indonesia team said they wanted to have Chicken Joy from Jollibee. Sabi ni Butch,
It broke my heart, Gretchen. It broke my heart to say no.
On the other hand, it was a welcome sight for fans to see this young Gilas squad compete and win against tough competition.
We're all very happy with the performance. It's a tribute to the kind of hard work that coach staff and his coaching staff put into place and the sacrifices of our players.
But as Gilas moves on to its next chapters, several questions still arise. One question that has been on many people's minds is, how long will Tab Baldwin be head coach?
He knows exactly the formula that will bring us to the next level. So I'm definitely pushing for it. And I hope he will continue and be our program director. And my wish is for him to coach the team.
With this in mind, it's still one step at a time for the SBP as they look towards the long-term goal of being competitive for the 2023 FIBA World Cup and beyond.
Every competition we join, I just hope that we are better. Maski konti lang, basta it's better than the last, right? And I think that to me says that we're doing something right.
Gilas is set to face Serbia tomorrow, followed by the Dominican Republic on Friday. Time for another quick break. When we return, Phivolcs says there's now evidence pointing to volcanic smog as the cause of the haze, which has been blanketing the metro. The details after the break.
Good evening. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay. Phivolcs has corrected an earlier advisory. They are now confirming that volcanic smog from Taal has in fact reached Metro Manila, but those affected or most affected remain to be residents living near the volcano. Roman Lopez with the story.
Taal volcano continues to emit sulfur dioxide, resulting in zero visibility at the Taal volcano island due to the volcanic smog or VOG. But it goes beyond the vicinity. The VOG has reached Metro Manila, Rizal, Batangas, Laguna, and Pampanga. And according to Phivolcs, even as far as Bataan and Zambales. The agency earlier said that the haze in NCR was caused by air pollution.
Nadagdag ngayon yung contribution ng sulfur dioxide sa pagkaroon ng hazy condition. Pero yung smog po ay sa pollution.
But sulfur concentration in NCR is low. It's mostly those living near the volcano that are most affected, like in the town of Agoncillo in Batangas.
Sa lalamunan ho, na ngati, tinag-uubo.
Ay sadya ho aramdam ay talagang mainit. Kahit o sino hong tumigil doon, kahit ho hating gabay, kahit may simoy, aramdam nyo talaga asingaw, mainit.
Lorena's children are already experiencing coughs, cold, and even fever. But they opt for home care for fear of being branded as COVID patients.
Takot na hong magpa-doktor ng COVID. Bakit? Baka sabing COVID, mako-confine pa kami. Wala po kaming pera.
Ano kanyo? Sarili-sarili na lamang?
Oo, sarili-sarili na lang ho. Kung minsan nagpapahilot na lang ho sa manghihilot.
Phivolcs says the Taal's VOG may affect the respiratory system. It can also irritate the eyes and cause allergic reaction.
Maging handa lang po kasi ang phreatic or steam-driven eruption naman, hindi naman natin na-predict yan, nabibigyan ng forecast or prediction kung kailan mangyayari.
Phivolcs says the Taal volcano gas emission is also a clear manifestation that it remains active. Residents in nearby areas said that they are ready to evacuate anytime should the situation worsen. But many hope that this will never happen anytime soon as they have yet to recover from last year's eruption. For News 5, Rommel Lopez. We are One News.
Let's take a look at the biggest stories on print and online. The Philippine National Police won't be arming civilian volunteers. Philippine Star reports that the agency instead supports gun ownership among qualified individuals. PNP Chief General Guillermo Elazar says that citizens who pass the requirements have the right to own a firearm for protection and nothing else. The TN+3 Macroeconomic Research Office, or AMRO, forecasts slower growth for the country this year. Business World reports that the group slashed its growth outlook this year from 6.9% to 6.4%. AMRO cites the new wave of infections and slow vaccine rollout in the country as a downside risk. The LTFRB is ending its service contracting program, which provides free rides to passengers. The Bayanihan 2, which provides funding for the program, expires today. News 5 reports that the LTFRB is seeking new budget sources to continue the program. Another big story in sports, WBC World Bantamweight Champion Nonito Donaire has decided to call off his fight against WBO World Bantamweight Champion John Riel Casimero. The decision came after both camps engaged in an online spat after the fight was announced. Donaire said he is canceling the bout due to several issues with Casimero's voluntary anti-doping association testing paperwork. Donaire also demanded a public apology after Team Casimero disrespected his family and his wife. The Atlanta Hawks have evened the series against the Milwaukee Bucks after an impressive Game 4 win, 110-88. The Hawks, who were without star point guard Trae Young, managed to hold their ground against Milwaukee. Disaster later struck the Bucks as Giannis Antetokounmpo went down with a hyperextended knee during the third quarter. The Hawks were able to extend their lead during this run to secure the crucial Game 4. It's still unsure whether Giannis or Trae will return in Game 5, which is set on Friday.
Wonder Woman star Gal Gadot is a Wonder Mom for the third time. On Instagram, Gal told followers how excited they all are to welcome Daniela into the family. She then sent love and health to everybody, and a black heart and 5 waving emojis. Gal's husband, businessman Yaron Verzano, called her dear wife a lioness, saying he's thankful and humbled by her powers.
And the world couldn't hurt us.
Meanwhile, here's another form of birth. The 2021 movie follows Bully and finds the same little. Clifford, the movie will be on cinemas September 17. Nick Garcia, We Are One News.
And while Clifford may be causing mayhem in the story, in real life, humans may also cause a lot of mayhem for dogs and other animals. That's why animal rescue group Caution Project has teamed up with Congressman Ronnie Ong and the MMDA to launch the Break for Animals campaign. Through more than 20 LED boards and billboards along EDSA, motorists are reminded to drive safely, not just for their own good, but also for the welfare of stray animals crossing the roads. Caution Project is also calling on everyone to practice kindness to the voiceless animals. Break for Animal billboards and posters are installed across several highways.
You know, I can't forget my parents would always tell me the speed that you should be driving at should be the speed that if a cat or a dog crosses the street, you can stop. Hindi ko makalimutan yun eh. Kaya parang every time nag-drive ako, teka, kaya ko ba mag-brake pag may tumawid?
Oo, lalo na dito, you have to be very, very alert, di ba? Kasi lalo na when it comes to mga pusakal, mga askal, di ba? Bigla na lang lalabas yon. And it's a wonderful project. We laud the organizers at Caution Project, and I hope everybody takes note of those signs. If these stories are not enough, there are going to be reminders all along the highways.
And we should remember that because siguro pati yung mga pusa at aso galing quarantine. Kaya baka hindi na naalala na may coaching dadating. Well, that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250.
Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Mask on.
Wash hands.
And stay safe, Philippines. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. We are One News. Have a good evening.
To myself why I need it. Kasi ang bread and butter.
Pagka yun nga, nagdididipa ka na, nag-announce ka na. Hindi magandang pangitain. So, I suppose pare-pareho naman kami ng attitude eh. Pati yung iba, di ba? At kami naman, Tito Sen, talagang wala pang na-firm up na decision. Siya mas decidido actually kasi siya nga yung kumausap sa akin early this year. Yeah, ako talagang ang decision ko that time when he talked to me, sabi ko ayoko na kasi tagal ko na rin sa gobyerno, public service, parang enough na. Sabi niya, wag mo muna saran. Sabi niya, wag mo muna saran, partner, kasi may magagawa pa naman. Sabi ko, well, let's see, tingnan natin how it plays out.
Ano bang probinsya niya? Pareho kayong niya?
Nueva Ecija siya, actually. Cebu.
Pala Cebu.
Cebu, Soto.
Cebu, yeah.
Nueva Ecija, Cebu, and then of course, Quezon City, NCR.
Kayo
bakit? Ngayon ba, yung geographical, factor pa ba yan? Parang hindi na.
Dito sa
tingin mo, hindi? Well, may following.
Yeah, meron. Actually, diba? yung pagiging clannish din ng mga Pilipino.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Tsaka parang may hospital yata sila, yung family nila Soto.
Lolo niya yon, yung Vicente Soto Hospital.
Yes.
Kasi dalawa yung lolo niya actually na na senador.
Yeah. Oo.
Tapos members
So-
din ng isang member ng CONCOM, yung 1935, yung isa senador.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
1935?
Tagal na pala.
1935 Constitution, yung
Lalim
lolo
pala
niya.
ng political,
Malalim. Tapos
Political history
uncle niya
ng
pa si
family.
yung dating Secretary of Defense, si Castelo. Uncle niya yon.
Oh.
Oh.
Lalakas na.
Titigas ang
I
pangalan
think
eh.
kung si S.
P.
Ito. Meron pa kaming break na kami, session break.
Yes.
Yun, na-corner niya ako doon sa lounge. Sabi niya, boss,
Ikaw na lang.
tuloy